So, was thinking this week, actually this last month, I was on vacation for a bit. I had some time to think and was thinking a lot about just creativity, the creative process, thinking about friends of mine who are musicians who lock themselves in rooms and practice the piano or guitar for 3 or 4 or 6 hours a day, and how, we don't do anything like that. And, we're in a creative profession, right? I remember thinking, when they came up with this CLT, this Chief Lighting Technician designation, I wasn't so thrilled with it. I really felt like gaffer was a lot more sort of rounded and inclusive of the combination of these two things, this technical expertise and this artistic insight, artistic creativity. Because I never like to see what we do reduced to being technicians. Certainly that's a large part of what we do, but to me, the biggest part is that creativity, being able to think outside the box. And, every time I roll up on set in the morning, it's like a clean slate, a blank slate. Now, sure, we've had a lot of pre-pro, a lot of discussions. We've got a plan in place. But within that plan, there is room for creative in-the-moment decision-making. I mean, it's just part of what we do, right? So anyway, I got this book in the mail yesterday. It's John Cleese on creativity. Now, I'm a huge Monty Python fan. I grew up on Monty Python. I grew up on John Cleese. I'm going to see him. He's coming to town in a couple weeks, probably one of his last tours. He's in his 80s now. But this, if nothing else, this book is a quick read. It was a really good reminder about the creative process and about moving between the analytical mind and the creative mind during this creative process, and when you need to switch back and forth between the two, about the importance of play, about the importance of not having rules, and nothing is wrong. Everything is subject to interpretation, closer look, understanding. You move back into the analytical mind, you come back into the creative process, and the importance of setting aside time, uninterrupted time, just to be in that creative process. And I thought, why am I not doing this? Why am I not taking maybe some advice from musician friends? Now, I might not have to practice setting up, my Evoke 900C, but what I might want to do is pull out these various instruments that I have and think about new ways, imaginative ways, creative ways to use these in a different, newer way, and just setting aside time to discover, and try new ideas, new thoughts, new experiments. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been thinking about this week, is how can I incorporate more of this creative process in terms of expanding not only my skill set, but my sort of lighting repertoire, as it were, right? Because we know what we do is a creative process, right? Where it's not always about good lighting, right? Sometimes we need to light badly good, right? We need to find a way that something's not going to look great in an interesting way, right? According to the script, according to the confines of what we're trying to do. The idea isn't always aesthetically pleasing light. As I was looking for some of these books, I came across this book, Writing the Australian Crawl by William Stafford. Now, this takes me back to the 1980s when I was a student. I was in college. I was studying photography as a fine art, and my instructor thought it was really important that we branch into other arts like poetry and understand how writers were thinking about the creative process, about writing. And when I opened this last night, I just stumbled across something Stafford wrote under a subheading called A Way of Writing. And he says, a writer is not so much someone who has something to say as he is someone who has found a process that will bring about new things he would not have thought of if he had not started to say them. And I thought, that's just so applicable to what I do, to the creative process of lighting. We need to sort of be in that free space of starting a process of discovery, right? So maybe we don't have that time on set, we don't have that freedom on set. So we need to incorporate that into our creative lives as gaffers, as lighting technicians, as aesthetic collaborators, right? So I don't have the answers, I don't know, but it feels to me like when I show up on set in the morning and it's a blank canvas, I'm always thinking, okay, how can we do this better? And I'm running through all the things in my truck, all the things I brought, because I often bring extra things for this exact reason. Because in the moment, sometimes we realize, oh, that thing we were talking about doing, this will be better. And, you can't always do that on set. You don't have the freedom of time. You're under the pressures of schedule. So sometimes those little changes are subtle, but it's oftentimes you're thinking, oh, let's add a 4x frame in front of this, whatever light, or let's shift this around 3/4 back. I mean, there are all these subtle things we do in the moment. And sort of when we're sort of training ourselves to see what's happening in the moment and being able to respond very quickly and have a number of things in our back pocket as solutions, I find that very exhilarating and exciting to be able to do, better and better work. And I think the more we fail, the more we try, the more we experiment, the better we get, right? And so for me this week, I've just been figuring, okay, what's the best course of action to take, given this is my thinking about wanting to expand creative possibilities on set for myself. And so my feeling is I need to set aside time every month for this idea that Cleese talks about of play. Lock yourself in a room, lock yourself in the shop, set aside 6 hours. You're just going to fuck around and see what comes. Anyway, that's thoughts for this week.